Mason showed up, man.
Yeah, bro.
I don't think Mason was the issue in yesterday's game.
He
Not at all.
He feels strongly about it, though. He does feel like that was a big part of. Yes,
In fact, Mason was balling in the second half.
Bro, he was cooking.
Mason was matching Josh Allen in the second half. I keep hearing this stuff about, do we have a guy that could match up with Burrow, all these other AFC quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
If Mason can play like what he did
Mm-hmm.
in these 4 games consistently,
That's what you're looking for.
we have a quarterback that can compete with
That's
those
what
guys.
you're looking for, baby.
No, it's not going to look as flashy as Josh Allen, but he showed me he could do enough to win football games and go toe-to-toe with those guys in a playoff environment.
Absolutely.
Like, that's the other thing you got to consider. That was Mason's first playoff game.
Mm-hmm.
On the road, up in Buffalo.
Hey.
The dude showed up,
Not
man.
not playoff-like. Not this is kind of like a
The
playoff
dude showed
scenario.
up.
That was the playoffs, man.
The dude showed up. We just did too much stupid stuff in the first half.
man.
Too much stupid stuff.
You
And
spotted
part of
team
it was
21.
the Mason pick. So that's on him, but
You had the
he
Mason
overcame
pick,
it,
You
though.
had the Pickens fumble. I mean, like I said, it's self-inflicted to an extent.
The Pickens fumble, stupid miscommunication on defense. Obviously, we were having mental lapses out there.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring up the refs in the second half.
And that's fine.
But we dug ourselves. Ultimately, we dug ourselves too deep of a hole to put it in the refs' hands
Correct.
to always make the right call.
Yeah.
You got to take more control of what you can control, and we didn't do that. We had stupid mistakes.
In the postseason, or just in general, we talk about when you're playing against good teams, when you spot good teams' points, or you allow good teams to get a
21-0.
lead early,
Like, come on.
it's tough to beat them, man.
Come on.
Like,
But we got it to one score,
Yeah.
like legitimately. Like, we were legitimately in the game.
so that's the testament to let you know that we are not far off of what we truly want to accomplish. But at the same time, you can also see that it's not necessarily a mass overhaul that is needed. It's the small, just, all right, a little incision here, a little bit, change this right here. And that's the difference right now, man. But I thought that was a prime example of it yesterday, man. So, yeah.
Yeah, it all depends on how you want to spin it. Are we in this purgatory of all these playoff losses? It's never going to get better.
I mean,
Or-
that is one of the narratives that is going around right now, bro.
And I get that. I mean, it does feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
But my
It's
side
valid.
of it is like, all right, this is our second year without Big Ben. We have a very young core. It's not the same team that was around back in 2017,
Yeah.
or even 2020 whenever we went 11-0 to start the season and we lost to the Browns in the wild card. It's a very different team. Like, we have some pieces like TJ and
Cam
and Minka. That's about it. And Boss.
Mm-hmm.
Offense is completely new, and then we have a bunch of other new young pieces on defense.
Yeah.
I view this more as like, I think this can be a stepping stone in the right direction. Like, this is good playoff experience for these young players, for this young core.
Yeah.
I think we can run it back.
Mm-hmm. Me, man, we on the same page. We saw everything that we were looking to see. The question marks around Mason in terms of could he handle playoff scenarios? Could he handle going on the road, hostile environment, against one of the top quarterbacks in the league? I thought that he handled himself well. I thought that the difference was you just saw him make the mistake, and Josh, unfortunately for us, didn't make the mistake. That was
The
the big
game
difference,
played
man.
out opposite of how anyone expected it to.
Yeah.
We had the 2 turnovers.
Right.
Meanwhile, we've been taking care of the ball this whole
Uh-huh.
time. And
They
the
were
Bills
clean.
were completely clean.
Yeah.
Nothing from James Cook. Josh Allen didn't put
Right.
the ball in harm's
Think
way
about
one
it, bro.
time.
Think
The only
about
time it was the running back dropped it. The ball popped
it
up,
popped
and
up, yeah.
one of us almost dived to get it, and we didn't.
Yeah.
But that wasn't even on Josh Allen. Like, he
And-
didn't put the ball in a bad spot.
And even when you were expecting his signature, he's scrambling out the pocket, is late in the down, throwing it across the middle of the field, late in the down. That was when he hit
Complete. He did it a couple times.
Yeah,
he
and
did
it was
it a
like,
couple times, and it worked.
yeah. So he said, man, when he's playing like that and their team isn't turning the ball over, and then in contrast, we are turning it over, I mean, it's gonna be tough to win anytime, man.
Yeah,
And
we got it
especially when you talk about
within.
the playoffs.
Yeah, we got it within one score.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was gonna get real interesting though, if the punter couldn't come back. When Sam Martin pulled up, chasing after Herbig on the fake block.
Yeah.
Because now you're going to be talking about the difference of field position or potentially them not being able to punt on 4th downs. We know how we can.
But I guess it wasn't his kicking leg, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it worked out.
It's crazy. I'm like, bro,
Yeah,
how did that
he
happen?
Kicked it completely fine whenever he got the chance.
Yeah, I was like, that was one of them, just the luck of the draw right there, man. All the other injuries that happened, that was one of the lucky breaks right there. Because that was part of the complaint that I even saw with, Presley, right? And even in the game, you can kind of see it. It's like, man, they do punt that thing, and it's like, oh, yeah, good luck.
Prezi didn't have any shanks, but
he did it, but
he's not giving us enough.
He doesn't consistently put them where we would need it in a game like that, where you could see their punter doing that.
Field position could matter. Where you know, instead of you getting it at the 35, you have favorable field position. You get it at the 10 or 15. You have to get another first down or two to keep your drive going.
And that's one of the things
that could be a difference maker.
Well, and that's one of the things I would say. The punter up there, Sam Martin, he doesn't get utilized a lot, but he does consistently put that thing where it needs to be put. And I thought that definitely showed up as well. Just like I said, it just looked like the difference of they did all the little things right, tackling. No missed,
which is something
no missed
the
assignments.
Bills haven't been doing. Though.
Thank you.
You've been watching every one of their games, and I've been seeing them too.
On the same page, bro.
They've been screwing themselves in a lot of these ones, but they're getting out with the wins.
Yeah, the tackling was night and day. The communication on the back end with all the injuries for them dudes was night and day. Even their pass protection. We thought that at least with Highsmith, you would still even get more and more pressure out of that thing. Marcus Golden and Highsmith had sacks, but it still never felt like Josh was under duress like that either.
Not at all.
And that was the other part where you're like, that's one of the things that we said coming in, we should be able to take advantage of. It was weird, man. It was definitely one of them ones, but you talked about us being young. And not just young, a lot of dudes being new to the playoffs. For the Bills, they're not new to the playoffs. And I do feel like early part of the game, man, they just started out and understood what this was in terms of the intensity of it, the speed of it, and how everything is just literally do or die. And I felt like for us, we kind of warmed up to that thing. But once we got going, I thought midway through that third quarter, man, we started to play some of our best ball that we were
right there with the Bills.
Absolutely.
Right,
and we were putting pressure on them, man. When that thing got cut to 11, bro, that was pressure. But the thing was, they answered. And unfortunately for us, we weren't able to answer. And now, obviously, we'll talk about, the fourth down, GP, PI, no PI, route, no route, all of that type of stuff.
That's my thing. Some of the stuff in the second half, we did get it close. We cut it to 7, and then it just seemed like all the calls were going against us. And it was ticky-tack stuff.
Right.
Like, whenever Allen had the ball in that series after we got it to one score, the Miles Jack back-to-back penalties, I think even the penalty to set the Bills up with that good field position was the thing with Dan Moore.
Dan Moore punch. Well, Dan Moore hits the dude on the. But remember, that didn't have a negative effect because that was the kickoff.
But didn't that set up the Bills with good field position though?
Initially for the kick, but we ended up tackling. But we tackled him on the 30, I thought.
Yeah. I mean, it was still good field position though. I mean, it matters. You get what I'm saying? It was just all that stuff added up, and then then when we got the ball back on offense, 2-score game. Yeah, I thought it was back-to-back plays at the end. The Pickens on fourth down. But then the one before that, I thought it was even more egregious. Did you see that?
Which one?
The hold on Jaylen Warren. His jersey's getting tugged like a foot.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But I didn't think the refs did the Steelers any favors there in the second half in their comeback efforts. But, again, we dug ourselves too deep of a hole early on. I think both are parts of how the game played out. They each tell a little bit of a story.
Yeah, they could both be true.
That's how I feel. I think they're both true, and it is what it is. We put the game in the refs' hands, and too little, too late.
Yeah, man, both of them things could absolutely be true. We can talk about some of these calls.
But we also didn't play good. You could talk about our defense, some of the tackling, some of the miscommunication too. So there was a lot there.
One of the things that kind of frustrated me was this. I thought that our A players on defense didn't play as good as the Bills' A players on offense, bro. In terms of the missed tackles, the blown assignments that we dealt with resulted in touchdowns, and we're featured by our key people. Minka, Casey,
I'll be honest
Pat
with you.
I'm like, bro, these are our guys.
The Minka missed tackle at the end of the game on the Shakira one, I'm actually happy it happened.
Why is that?
Because it's more about the time at that point.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Because the Bills, it's better for them to run out the clock as much as possible. Because either way, you got the field goal.
Yeah.
You got the field goal right there. You're going to go up 2 scores either way. I'd rather, all right, fine, you go up 2 scores, but we get more time to actually try to get the ball down the field. Yeah. We could put together a 4-minute drive, keep our timeouts, and then kick it off to the Bills. You have 2 minutes left. We got to get one stop, and then we get the ball for that final drive with a minute 30 left. A lot of things have to go right. But at least, dude, at least it's not the Bills up 10 and then it's 3 minutes left or 2 minutes left trying to get that drive.
Our strategies are very different when it pertains to end of the game stuff.
I mean, the clock's your worst enemy at that point, though. Yeah. If you're going to be down 2 scores either way, give me more time. Because you're down 2 scores.
Enough. You know, like I said, bro, we just got different philosophies on how we would go about that. Like, I didn't look at Mika missing that tackle, and I'm like, well, that's a good thing. That's all.
I didn't either. It resulted in the touchdown.
No, that's why I'm just like,
it was
I
the
don't
touchdown
agree
that was the
with
good thing.
That.
Obviously, I would have liked him to make the tackle, but since he missed it, and then everyone else wanted to look like stumbling idiots out there and trying to tackle him, like, he ended up scoring a touchdown, and that was the better result.
But the way it came off was like, oh, this was good that he missed the tackle because it ended
up
the touchdown.
It ended up being good after he got the touchdown.
And I'm like,
play.
Could you also look at that one play and say that this was also a big kind of picture of what we struggled with all day versus that Bills team for 4 quarters was our tackling. We couldn't tackle worth a day going, bro. It was horrible. All 3 levels: D linemen, linebackers, corners, and safeties. That's my only thing, man. It's just like, it's frustrating, but I get it. I do get it, though.